Hello and welcome to the 2021 Pisslo Holiday Special. My name's Jepman. I'm here with the Galaxybear, Limit Testing, Novah, and Sparky. So, first off, happy holidays, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah.
No.
Humbug to you too.
I just said happy holidays, it's everything. But,
Yeah.
what is new? WKW jerseys. What do you guys think of them? Pretty stylish. I think they look pretty sick.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
Yeah, no,
That's
that
pretty
was
awesome.
pretty good.
Hard agreed, my friends.
There was also a Goguryeo event, so let's start with that. Alpha, how did you guys go with your roster for that? So that was Pixie, Peacekeeper, Galaxybear, Collat, and Sparky, I think.
Yep.
I think we went terribly from memory.
No, you guys came.
You guys came second.
That's terrible. It's either first place or no place.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you guys
not
almost
wrong.
got omega gapped by Nova Jungle. I don't know.
Were you guys happy with your performance with that roster, or?
Not gonna lie, can't remember it.
Alright,
Yeah.
well, I mean, we had roster changes, like, well, our jungle was Distatic at the start, actually, and then, for whatever reason, he couldn't play, and we got Peacekeeper in, and, like, I don't know, second place finished with, like, a new roster and roster changes. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, for not really playing much together, I guess we didn't perform too bad. It was still a bit rough in places, but we got there. Close, nearly pulled it out.
What do you think about the tournament structure in general? With how Zyrus and TMG ran that was a bit interesting.
Yes, that's a good word.
How many teams were actually still in the tournament in the end? Because I know that you guys default won your semi-final versus Nae's team just because they just didn't want to play.
I mean, they would have lost anyway. But
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that you guys wouldn't have giga gapped them, but
It was quite a few from memory. They disqualified a bunch.
yeah.
what do you think about tournament DQs and them doing it midway through the tournament?
I mean, it needs to be done. Otherwise, people are going to cheat the system or try and break the rules. It needs to be set an example.
My issue with it is that more often than not, the teams that get DQ'd at the playoff stage are teams that everyone has been complaining about since before the tournament starts.
Yeah,
That was one of the things I was about to mention, yeah.
The
issues are almost always things you can deal with before the event starts.
it very rarely is it someone who you find out that it's someone piloting someone else's account. It's normally everyone's oh look, that's foreigner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's obviously a little bit frustrating as a team manager, when you have these fixtures that you go up versus a bunch of people that are very obviously cheating the system or just very obviously not who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A bit frustrating.
But it falls on the admins to make the decision to ban them. They shouldn't be just being we'll see what happens. They look sus, but we
Yeah,
won't
that's
do
what-
anything.
That's
Right,
not
but
what they're doing, right? They need to deal with it at the start so it doesn't become a problem, and they need to realize, really early on.
see, this is an interesting debate. I wanted to bring this up. I didn't want to kind of disrupt your flow, but the SumSoc event kind of did that in the way that they DQ'd TNS from playing. TNS being technically eligible, especially considering SumSoc have quite literally zero iron to plate rules.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, I agreed with them being DQ'd. I don't think they should play. It would have completely ruined their competitive integrity of the event, which actually ended up being a really cool event. The people that won it were just a bunch of friends that deserved the win, honestly. And I don't think that would have got it if it wasn't as policed as hard as it was. But I know that from you guys have been pretty adamant that you don't really like when that happens, or specifically GBear, and you want there to be concrete rulings. I don't know.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of ruling at the start. What's the point of having rules if you don't act on them from the get-go?
Right, but what do you think about people who are very clearly circumventing rules to make themselves eligible? Do you think that it should be on the admins to be able to like police that like as the tournament starts, or do you think, oh, they've got away with it, let's just let them ruin it?
No, they should be policing it from the start.
I've never said that admins can't make decisions like that. If they want to like make a decision regarding like a team that's like clearly circumventing rules, or like is technically eligible but clearly circumventing rules, like I think that's fine. Admins can allow or disallow anyone they want, really.
As long as there's evidence that they are breaking the rules. If they're just making a judgment call because they don't like people, then that's a bit unfair.
Well, I mean, like a judgment call would be TNS when they played in BSV, right? Like those guys were all eligible because they all decayed to D4 before the season started and they're in plat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they should have been allowed to play Iron to Plat, or do you think a judgment call should have been made on the first BSV tournament to not have them terrorize Iron to Plat for 7 months?
Probably make a call and make them not play until later in the season, halfway through the season, if they still got the rank or something.
Because I was involved on the inside of discussions around this quite a lot, and the overwhelming consensus was, well, they're technically eligible. We can't DQ them because it will just look like favoritism.
Well, I think...
And I sort of agree with that, but like, you can add a rule that like disallows them.
As long as it's before the thing starts, right? You can add something that's like, if you decay, you need to be that rank for however long, you know, whatever, right? Can't just like fresh decay and play. Which I think is what they did, right? Didn't they just like...
That's what they ended up doing, like, at the end, yeah.
Yeah, so like, they should
also adding in flex restriction as well.
Yeah, well, that's another one. Like,
Kind
they
of
should have
bone them.
added, like, stuff in to prevent what was obviously rule circumvention, but they needed to do it in a way where it wasn't just like, yeah, no, we think you're too good, you can't play. It's got to be, like, a legitimate thing that you can measure. So, like, yeah. I think amount of time that you've been a certain rank after decaying would be one way that you could do it. Or amount of games, rather than time.
It's so hard, man. To play, it's just... Obviously, the ideal situation would be you have people who just aren't being tossers, I guess. But it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if the admins start banning people and making an example, less people will be inclined to smurf, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or try and circumvent the rules because they may get caught out and can't play.
Yeah. That's always a possibility, too.
I mean, yes and no, man. There's people that go to like absurd links, like to get in these tournaments.
Yeah,
people like create like new battle fires, and you know, it's just Jesus Christ.
Like, in all honesty, what's the point? You're playing for what, $10?
I mean, it's like what Vincenzo does. Like reinvents entire fucking personas and becomes an entirely different person to try and play in this shit.
I mean, not really though. Like, it's, as soon as he's in game, it's all wins.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do it well.
He can't control himself, dude. As soon as that lobby's made, he's saying something.
Yeah, that's very true.
But that's like another problem as well, though, right? Like people selling accounts, or you know, like how do you deal with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's it though. Like, wasn't like the way that Vince was eligible? Didn't he sell his accounts? And then like the admins
did.
And then the admins were like, we don't know what his diamonds accounts are. We can't DQ him. And it's like, are you fucking serious, man?
Yeah.
Like,
but you know he had diamond accounts in this season.
Like wow,
seriously.
look at that. He's going 20-2 every game. Fucking weird, right? Like, you know.
Just because a player may not currently have a diamond account, but if you sold it quite recently, like, he's still diamond. He hasn't stopped being diamond. Ownership.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's really tough.
It's like, it's not about like what rank. It's not really about what rank your account is. It's really about skill level. But the only way to measure skill level is by looking at your rank, and that might not be a true indication for some people. But
it's definitely not for some people. 100%.
It's literally what you have though. Like you can't just start making arbitrary rulings saying, yeah, no, look, I think your skill level is a bit above where you are or below where you are, like what fucking TMG were doing, where they were saying, "Oh, Pirate Pat is like, I don't really think they don't think he's Diamond anymore," even though like he's like 60% win rate in Plat 1 fucking 90 LP, basically sitting Diamond anyway.
Yeah, the only way you really can enforce that kind of thing, not enforce it, but like try and get the rank out of them, is get them to play regularly.
Mm.
But then people complain about regularly playing, because we had the same thing with, was it LLC or something? So some had those rules that made us play weekly games, and that was just painful.
There's a lot of tourneys that had that. That was really annoying. I didn't like that at all.
I think a lot of it's on the managers too. I can speak from my experience here. Smurfing, it's not tolerated in my org. Anyone who does it is just instantly gone, as you guys know. It's only been like one incident of it in the last like 2 years, you know. But there's a bunch of orgs that just do it all the time. Like when you're in a lobby with
Kraken Sapphire, dude.
Kraken, Jesus.
Kraken fucking Sapphire.
No, it's Kraken and QT, and like notorious for it as well. It's like you look at their accounts and you're just like, haven't played the game in 4 months. You know, some of the spells have been swapped. Strange. Oh, this account's level 32. You know, it just makes me want to like blanket ban all those orgs from anything I run. So I don't know. I feel like while it's on the admins as well, it's also on the orgs to make sure that like the established orgs at least, that they're not having anything shady going on. Like you're not going to police like kind of like friend teams like TNS or, you know, like those kind of groups. But like if you're in like MCOM or Kraken or something that's like at least decently well established in the community, it should definitely be on like the leadership of that org to make sure there's nothing like turbo dodge going on.
You're policing iron to gold, like in your tournament, or iron to plat. Like they're for fun game tournaments. Like the orgs aren't gonna really care about that. They're big ticket teams. So
I disagree with that, man. Like you're saying that like I don't know. Just because it's like a lower rank doesn't mean it's any less time investment for the players. Like the players being worse doesn't mean they care less.
It's not. That's not exactly what I mean. I mean, like, you're not gonna get as much hype around your team in Iron to Plat as if you had like a challenger team in the challenger circuit.
I don't know about that. Iron to Plat like typically gets more views than Play to Show.
Yeah, because there's less skill. There's more. What's the words? There's people that aren't as. There's more people that are not as skilled as challenger. So you
they get their mates and shit to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like, I mean, like when it comes to like your big ticket teams, like Weekend Warriors, at least from like the community reputation, would be more known for Iron to Plat than it would Play to Chell. Our Play to Chell teams are very, very, very good. But if you were to ask tournament orgs like where they know WKW from, it would mostly be from a CAD or Alpha. And CAD and Alpha would be the ones that have the most eyeballs on them.
Yeah. Most wins.
Yeah, therefore, when we fuck up, people take notice, but we can go into that when we get to the Revolt bit.
Yeah.
Back to the Goguryeo event, sorry. How did Academy go in that?
Lots of roster issues. Disappointing loss to a shit team in the quarterfinals. I can't remember what they are. I don't know, they're called like a beta or something.
So this was your old roster, yeah?
This was my old roster, yeah. Before we got the Turbo Jack roster. Who was on that old roster?
Threat and Ape?
Oh yeah, Threat and Ape, that's right, yeah. Threat Ape, I don't know, Declan and Zach, yeah. Yeah, it was okay for us. About as expected. We've never really been one. Aside from like recently, I guess, to like kind of stack the rosters, be more about like helping people get better at the game. So, tournament wins obviously important, but it's all about helping people get better. So, you know, I think a playoff finish is always nice for us.
True. Were there any new teams or teams that surprised you guys in that event?
In the Goguryeo event?
Yeah, like maybe they placed higher than you thought they would be, or like a new team came out and like did well?
Not really. The playoffs kind of like were the same teams I thought they would be. To be honest.
Yeah. Fair. Do you guys feel the same?
Yeah. I wasn't really too surprised about anyone in that tourney.
Wait, wasn't
Okay.
it that the drama with one of the teams dropping out, and that's how Revolt Rivner got in?
Was it that?
What was Rivner, or was it Era White?
Yeah, no, that was because one of the teams dropped out and Envy got the spot with the Revner team, and then
Yeah, and then they kicked him.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know exactly what happened between them, but he was not on the roster at the end.
Feels bad, man.
It's just I don't know.
Oh well,
That tournament was so weird, man.
okay, well that's a question. If a team drops out, like, are we okay with another team taking their place?
No, man, those guys were so sus.
Oh,
Is it
okay,
eligible?
yeah, but okay. So if it was like any other team though, like I don't know, like a full bronze team or something.
It's better than just having a
A
bias.
bye, yeah.
Yeah, people get to play.
But
It's
the
for
problem
fun.
is people get desperate and they're like looking to, like the tournament organizers get desperate to have
Yeah,
the
exactly.
tournament, so they just like kind of slot in
Let
anyone with the
shifty people
pulse.
play. Or they're a little bit more lazy with the vetting of the team.
Yeah, by lazy you mean non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, assuming the team is like fully eligible, my next question would be, what do you think is the best way to make it fair for a new team coming in? Should they keep the record of the previous team? Should they start with 0 wins? Should they
I'd
like
just start with
replay
0
matches?
wins.
I think you got to get them to play the game matches that the other teams already played, if that's possible. Because it's the only way to really gauge their
Strength.
skill. Yeah, you just can't get them to give them the record of the other team they just played, because the other team could be better or worse than them, and then it's unfair. They're down 3 or 4 games, or
Although, yeah, like to
how
be
late it
fair,
is.
the teams that drop out more, I think that the only team that's like really dropped out that was like a strong team would have been Nate's team, really, and that was in the semis. Like the teams that drop out during groups are the teams that just don't ever win games, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at the teams that dropped out of the other tournament that we just played, like they were all like 0 and 13 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Having them reschedule their fixtures is probably like good, but at the same time, it can also be a bit of a ball ache for all the teams involved, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Make them play a gauntlet on one week.
Because like, what do you do? Like, say say that Academy don't get into a tournament, and then we get in as a late replacement, but you've already beat this team that dropped out, and then Academy come in and we stomp everyone. Does that mean that everyone loses their wins that they earned versus the team that dropped out?
They can't. I don't know. Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's. Yeah.
Well, that's where the ball ache part kind of starts, right? Like,
You know, I completely agree with that. But like at the same time, if they start on 0 wins, then like the teams that they face in the future, like if those teams lose to them, then they'll complain because everyone else got a free win. So it's like sort of hard.
Well, that's why I'm against like kind of slotting in teams. To be honest, it can just never be a positive thing. You know, so often more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel
That's
like
one of the problems with like casual events like this where you want to do a ladder. It's like there's nothing forcing the teams to stay in it. Like it's not like in like a normal like sport where there's like, you know, you pay like a fee to enter, and you know, there's like fees if you like want to leave early and all sorts of other shit, right? Like this is just, if you want to leave, you can just leave. Like just don't turn up. Like what are they gonna do? Ban you? So
Well, I mean, it just depends whether you're having fun, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean, right? So it's meant to be fun, but like, so it's kind of hard to like force teams to be accountable for like attendance and stuff, right? Like if they're not having fun, they'll just like stop. But that ruins it for everyone else in a way.
yeah, I don't know. I played like a rec basketball league and stuff, and like my team like sucked like massive amounts of dong, but we still like turned up every Friday, you know.
Yeah.
It just depends like whether you enjoy the people that you're playing with. Like, it's the same for like a CAD. Like we've had disappointing tournaments. Like the BSB one last year, I think we went like 2 wins, 9 losses or something. We like still showed up every week, had fun playing together. That's like the main thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing you could do is you could try and bring back those weekly tournaments, just the one-nighters, and gauge potential teams' skill and just give them like a percentage on how they perform of wins and losses, based on their weekly performance in those tournaments. And that's how you get your teams to feel as well, because then they're legit and you just get to watch them play week in and week out. If they finish second 90% of the time, you give them 3 or 4 wins out of whatever the guys did to balance the records.
Well, that's an idea we had for events that we're kind of planning, which is have the Iron to Plat boys kind of play the weekly points gauntlet,
Yep.
The only issue with that, obviously, is it does come down to matchmaking. I know from experience, it's not very fun when you're in first round versus first seed 3 times in a row out of the 5 gauntlet stages. That's kind of unfortunate,
That's just how Battlefly is, unless you want to get the admins to rig it every time, which is...
Is there any way, if during the planning stages of the event, you can designate a secondary day to host either tiebreakers that can't be played on the actual night or like rematched games, and then just like you'd have a rule saying that if in the event of like some Shira team drops out, matches need to be replayed, it'll be done on this day or whatever, then everyone knows going into the start of the event that
this is for the ladder film we're talking about, not the one-nighters.
Sorry, not the one-nighters. If you're filling in a ladder, I mean, like if a team wanted to be slotted in, there would be essentially a clause in the rules saying that like teams would, have to replay those games, because obviously you need to gauge like the skill and availability of the team. And if they say there's a designated day to be doing that, and teams know they're going in, then if they
it's
can't
not very
play...
fair to the existing teams, though, right? Like,
well, existing teams. That's the thing. Existing teams will know that going into the event, so they know that on that day, if a team gets slotted in, they have to play their rematches. If they're not free a particular week to do those rematches, then like unfortunately they'll have to like FF the win.
Well, I mean that doesn't make any sense.
Though.
That's unfair to the team that showed up every week and like got their Ws. The team that's just like 0-4 in groups just drops out and like completely cuts everyone else, or even more than they already do. Right.
I don't know. I think majority of these people find more than one night a week to play. I don't think it's asking too much if they like say it from the start that if in the event that happens, obviously you always hope it doesn't, but other than forcing them to retain the score, there's not many other ways to get the games replayed. And often enough in events, they end up rescheduling matches anyway because they're like,
but like, why did
8-9 weeks long.
I'm not arguing about the scheduling. I'm arguing about why the teams that have stayed at the tournament that have showed up every week need to play their games again just because the team that's 0-4 cucks them. I don't think that's very fair.
Well, how else do you assign the
you just don't.
ladder position to what you just don't let another team come in and give everyone else buys?
Well, I mean, you kind of have to, otherwise, like you're just making everything a giant ball ache, right?
I feel like teams would complain that other teams are getting free wins because the team dropped out. Like teams that haven't played them yet will get a free win now.
Everyone would be playing them, right?
I think I agree with Novah, but I also think that like any wins that team had that dropped out should be reverted to wins to like the team that they versed instead. That way every team in the league has a win against the team that's dropping out, That way it's completely fair and
that
basically
makes sense,
everyone just has
I just think like rescheduling, like I don't know, my example would be you get drawn into groups. So the idea that we had was we do placements, we do a ladder. The ladder you get drawn into groups based off seeding, like first and eighth, etc. So like the top 4 seeds are the first in all of the groups. So like first is top group A, second top group B, right? Say you have an 8th seed or like a bottom seed go 0-3 first week of groups, double round robin, decides that they're just not going to play because they're getting smashed, and the team that comes in is like TNS or something. It's like, do you make them play all 3 of those games again?
Well, I'm going to throw out a counter proposal, because this is all like the first few weeks. You're saying, what happens if you're in the later stages of the tournament? The team knows they're not going to make it into the finals, the top 8 or whatever it is to do the playoffs, and they just leave. The next team that comes in and they don't get any of the wins, or they just get automatic losses, they have no chances of coming in. So you basically still got a dead spot to fill. Like, that team's not going to want to come and play because they've got no chances of coming into the finals.
Yeah, it makes sense. If there's a way you can do it, like without being like super disruptive to the tournament and the other teams that have participated, then I'll do it. But
I think you just go to the team, each team, and go, do you want to play these guys? If not, we're going to give them that win for that week. If the team really cares about that win they got or that loss, then they'll play it. I'll just have to schedule around it. It's a bit harsh, but it's like, it's the only way I can justify balancing it.
I just don't think it needs to be balanced. I think that if you're going to completely reschedule everything to do with a group, then it's just not worth the pain.
Yeah.
Like you just give the rest of the people in that group buys. Like,
yeah, I understand that. It's just that it's unfair on the team coming in, because then they don't get chances to win.
I mean, that's just why you don't have a team come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because either way, it's just going to be cripplingly unfair on someone. Yeah. And I'd rather it just be unfair on no one. Just what happens if a team that's losing drops out.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way around it.
Like, all of these teams that dropped out in the tournament, I guess we're about to talk about soon, hurt literally no one. You know?
True.
But replacing them with another team just makes it so much more complicated.
Yeah, and it's harder for the admins to police too, because you don't know that team coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
and you know, like with the whole like evicts, like those were all like bronze and silver players. Like those were free wins for like every team. And then, you know, in comes Ring Reese, and suddenly like half the tournament who hasn't played them is just like Omega cucks, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thought process.
No, that's fair.
Well, moving on to the Revolt tournament. Alpha to starters. So we had like too many people on our roster, and we decided to try splitting the roster into 2 different teams. We had Alpha and we had Helios. So
Novah's unhappy noises.
From the Helios boys' point of view, there's no Alpha people in here. Like, were you guys happy with your team for that?
No. No.
Why is that?
A lack of commitment, lack of competitiveness. Some people didn't take it seriously. I felt like some people took it too seriously. I don't know. It's just so fucking retarded. No one was on the same page. No one wanted to like work together to be on the same page. It's just team with no teamwork. It's just bound to not end well.
It was very difficult.
And I think that showed when we were constantly having to replace players. Because one of the like, I guess most obvious things of a team that's not doing well is like constant replacements.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
I mean, like, results aside, like not doing well internally. I mean, like,
yeah, I mean, that was something that like
smidge of drama
was gonna come up with, like not having any super reliable subs, because we also had like people on your roster promoting, so they were no longer eligible, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really want to have to remove players at that time, but since then we have recombined the two rosters.
And lobbed people.
Yeah.
For better or for worse?
For
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of kicking people, man. Like, the only person that I
knew that was the reason too.
The only person that I had removed before this was Kusho, and like that I didn't give a fuck about. Like,
oh, you mean the Supreme Leader? Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, he deserved to be kicked, but like some of the people that I had to remove this time, like, I still think they're good people and I wish them the best. But yeah, we also did have like the smurfing drama involved. So
Right.
what happened was, I think it was like the day before an event or something, our jungler left. So then we got our top laner to go to jungle, and we were looking for a top laner, and one of the players on Helios said that they had a friend that was eligible. So taking him for his word, we got his mate in.
That was a fucking mistake.
Yeah, well, we only played with that guy for a little while, so we didn't really know the caliber of the player and his person, like his nature.
Yeah, so we played with him for the 1 week, and then the day before the next week's games, we're like, I think it was the day before, we're like, this guy's a bit sus, let's use limit testing this week in case, and then I basically interrogated the player, and eventually, like, it came out that the guy was a smurf, so I passed it on to Novah, and like, we confessed admins and everything, so I don't know. I think it's better than just like covering it up at least and pretending it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, because you're bound to get caught.
I'd rather just get out in front of it and just be honest and be like, hey, look, there's been a mistake that's made. Take out wins. We've disciplined this player, in which we ended up removing him, and obviously we lobbed the Smurf as well. So
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
It's weird that you don't think I'm sus.
You're not.
Still the 4 negative win rate.
Okay. To be fair, dude, the amount I had messages about you being sus. They're like, this account looks sus, and I was like, nah, he's just garbage. Don't worry.
Wait, did you?
Yeah, it's true. Dude, I'm so sus.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like when when you trust someone and they like bring in Smurfs, then you can't really continue being associated with them.
Well,
I don't think.
It sucks because I was close with the player that ended up doing that. I'm not really anymore. I wish him the best, but I'm not really a big fan of people that lie to me. So, you know, that was a bit of an experience, obviously. I take the reputation of the org pretty seriously, and that kind of stuff just doesn't fly very well when you are very vocally anti-smurfing.
Yeah.
Hey, good boy Novah.
And I think
ethical, man.
Both Helios and Alpha finished top 8, which like, I don't know, it's not a bad finish, but for like our standards, it's not up to par, really. So
Called it.
we did scrap the experiment and we've gone back to one roster. But how did Academy do in Revolt?
Really positively, actually. Probably one of the most positive kind of improvement tournaments we've ever had. Our roster was a lot more stacked than it's been. Generally, we just get a bunch of gold players. We got, high plat players this time, and then people like B, Declan, like gold platform. And we came third, or top 4, I should say. We don't know if we came third or not because there's no third place match. We lost 3-2 to Revner in a series that we probably should have won 3-1. We giga through a couple games. Is our nature. But our improvement was crazy. We were 6th or something in groups, and we went to taking Revner to 5 games, which I think is more games than I've lost in the last 2 tournaments combined. So, it's really, really positive for us. And no one wanted to play us at the end as well. So.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Revner were fully undefeated in the Goguryeo tournament.
Yeah, they never lost now.
And I think they only lost 1 game in the groups.
They lost 1 game to Alpha, and then they lost 2 to us.
Who was on the Alpha roster? Was that the Smurf week or no? Do you guys remember?
No, Revolt Alpha, not
Oh, no, wait, damn.
Yeah, it's like Cruises.
Yeah, we're not that good anymore.
Damn, I was getting hyped there for a second.
Imagine Alpha winning any more games, honestly.
True. Well, before we go on to your new roster, were there any teams that surprised you guys in Revolt, or any new teams that came in that made a statement?
Yeah, the Greeks, man, Profani.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah,
boys.
super awesome boys, and they can bang, dude.
What I really like about them is like they're always looking to scrim and play.
Holy
and, like,
dude, they message me
I
like
respect
every
that in a
day.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "You want to play tonight?" And I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
Let me ask around.
Also, subbing for their team for a game, like they have fun playing as well. They seem
Oh
like
yeah,
very
I
chill
did flex with
dudes.
them. It was funny. They just talked shit the whole time.
As for like surprising finishes, you guys might not like this, but I think what are they called? Goguryeo
Never
Fortress. What are they called now?
Never choke.
Yeah, Never Choke, I guess. Yeah, I think they finished like top 4 or something as well.
Yeah,
So,
they lost to Alpha in the other semis.
yeah, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good finish for them. So yeah,
No, I
shout out
should
to
agree.
those guys.
Yeah, they had really good team play.
Did you guys want to say anything else about Revolt?
Limit does. I'll let him take the floor.
I don't know, man. It was probably one of the worst events in a while in terms of just like the amount of dodgy shit that happened. Like the whole Pirate Pat thing is like one part of it, right? But then you got like the other thing where they justified it by saying that they weren't going to get prizing, but they didn't tell them that. And then there was all this like behind the scenes shit that like was never agreed to, was never written down. No one knows what the fuck's going on. You got Tekit paying people out of his own pocket just to try and, preserve the reputation of the org. Like, good on him, but like, I kind of feel bad because he was a bit taken advantage of.
Yeah, so when you say Pirate Pat shit.
Yeah, so like the guys was Diamond this season, then dropped, then.
So he was ineligible.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would think so, right? But then I think they changed the rules or something so that like he would be, or maybe it was just like they ignored the fact that he was Diamond.
They just ignored the rule.
Yeah, okay,
I think
so
the rule was still technically in the rule book. Yeah, they're saying people who couldn't have been Diamond for this season, and he had decayed. So
yeah, so that in itself I think is like kind of a huge problem, but. Then you got to like compound the fact that it's like his org and his player, and then the guy that he tried to replace him with was also a decayed Diamond player.
Yeah, dude.
Right. And you got them justifying it, saying, "Oh yeah, we don't think he's Diamond level anymore." Blah blah blah. Like, and it's not like these people would know any better anyway, so they're just like making shit up to just cover themselves, I guess.
But it's not the first time like Tyler's run scuffed off.
No, he does it all the time. The guy's just like, I don't think he can be trusted. He just lies to people. Like, all the time.
Yeah, kicked from BSV because he was fucking around over there. Then he went and started, what was it, Black Hole?
Yeah, that one. The one, and then there was the whole, like, Griff not being allowed to play just because he thought he was too good, but there's like no fucking reason why he shouldn't have been able to. 100% eligible. And,
Yeah.
Just other dumb shit, right? And then, I don't know, he's kind of like dragging everyone down with him as well, because there's like people there who I legitimately think are doing a good job. Like, I think Tekit did a good job. And I think that other guy, Midnight Titan or whatever, I was talking to him about this whole thing, and he like did an investigation into it and apparently spoke to a bunch of people and came to like a decision that, that they basically fucked up, and he was going to like make sure it didn't happen again, sort of thing. I don't know, he handled the whole thing really well. Whereas like Paolo was just trying to like
just hide it.
Yeah, no, he's just like turning shit back on us. Like,
to Tyler's credit, even though he's fucked prizing in a tournament for the second time, at least this time prizing got paid out, whereas QTL there was nothing.
Well, that's because he wasn't the one paying it.
It actually it did end up getting paid out actually 8 months later by Brittany.
Oh,
There you go.
well, yeah, if he's not the one paying, I guess it does.
Yeah, if he's not the one paying, it comes out like immediately. But yeah, no, the guys can't be trusted.
Wait, so someone
The-
else paid like the full pricing out of their own pocket?
Yeah, take it. Yeah.
So
It wasn't just the full price. He paid more than that.
wait, so what happened to like whatever pricing was like actually supposed to be given from like
Who the hell
the
knows,
org or
man?
whatever? Nah.
Who knows?
Hopefully it was given to Ticket. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem I have with the whole tournament, and I'm not sure how far you guys want me to go with this, but I'm very wary of Tyler tournaments now because the guy just in general just speaks so much shit. It's really hard to not believe that he's got some kind of compulsive lying syndrome, as everything he says is just wrong. Obviously, you guys know this. Most people don't, though. I'm obviously from New Zealand. I use PayPal a lot. I literally run an org that's like 10 times the size of his. He tries to say that he couldn't pay out pricing because PayPal was delayed going to Australia. I can tell you that it's not. You know, so many just constant lies and excuses. I was on the TNG staff team as well. They weren't paid out, and when they were, there was a bunch of excuses about, like their payments being delayed because their account's frozen because business account needs to be authenticated, which is just also not true. So I don't know, like just so much of the stuff that he says is you need like a handful of salt to kind of decipher it, and there's the whole contracts thing as well, him like trying to enforce legally binding contracts on league players, which is just, I mean,
a bit cringe, yeah.
Yeah, like really cringe. So we would never look at doing something like that in this org, and no one else does because it's just there's so much like ethically wrong with it.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
It's also just an amateur tournament. Like, who wants to sign a legal document for an amateur tournament?
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, when it comes to contract law, and I know this, I'm doing law, you have to be aware that you're entering in a legally binding agreement. It's literally part of what makes a contract.
And plus, don't you have to be of age to sign documents for yourself? And how many people are going to be under the age of 18 playing in these sort of tournaments?
Oh, quite a few, I would presume. So... I mean, I'm not entirely sure if it's like the same when it comes to when it comes to like their teams, but I know that it's crazy, man. Like I actually saw one of the contracts I was given one, and it was they wanted like 30% of pricing per player to like cover all costs and coaching. Which is just
So the players were paying the org, not the org paying the players.
Yeah, so the players were if they had won pricing, was supposed to give a percentage of the pricing back to the org.
What? Okay, that's just it's not fair on the players. They just played for 8 weeks or longer.
Well, that's it though, right? Like, I mean, you guys can speak for WKW. Like, I've never asked anything of you guys ever, and I won't.
No, you asked us to do this every now and then.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, fuck. But no, when it comes to money, obviously, like any prizing you guys get, anything that we do that's like it's crowdfunded through our org, there's no pressure or no anything put on you guys to give us your money to be a part of this, because that's just, excuse my language, fucking retarded. So
yeah.
So you'd have to wonder like why the players would agree.
Well, River didn't. Like River just didn't sign, and like Tyler kept trying to drop the percentage to get them to sign, and they just wouldn't do it.
But how many players are actually going to read through an entire document like that?
Oh, it was like 2 pages. It wasn't the most like complex document. I don't know. The whole thing was worded like Revolt was giving them some kind of golden opportunity to play under their banner and not the other way around. Like, what would the org be without the players? Same goes for this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the players earned that.
Exactly. 100%.
What right do you have as the organization to claim any of it? Oh, well, because we provide them with stuff. It's like, okay, you do that willingly, don't you?
The players also willingly sign the contract if they do sign the contract.
I guess so.
But I agree. Like the contract is completely stupid, but like. I don't know. If like someone came to me with that, I'd like probably just tell it to their face.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not dumb, so I wouldn't do it. Just the weirdest thing I think I've ever been approached to was by a player was that, Tyler's trying to make us sign contracts. What the fuck?
Like, if you're trying to make money off it, you don't take it off the players, you take it off the prizing. You just lower the prize pool and that's how you make your money. If you need to, or you just get more.
Well, there's so many ways that you can make money. Just like have the loyalty of your players.
Sponsors.
Like we or sponsors, yeah. Like we crowdfunded everything. Like the jerseys, I don't know. Like we had our jersey prices lowered because we have a sponsor on our sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many ways that you can do it without like fucking over the people that are like the bread and butter of your org. It just all comes down to management and the fact that Tyler has no idea what he's doing when it comes to that, because he's just not receptive to any criticism. It's always deflected and justified, which it can just never be as an org owner. The most humbling thing is a player coming to you and saying that they have a problem with the way that you're running. You have to listen. You just have to.
Yeah, how is it meant to learn and improve?
Yeah, right. Well, okay, it seems we have some very strong opinions of the Revolt event, so I'd like to rate them on the org tier list that we did. If I can pull
Do
that
we
up.
even put them on the tier list is the question.
It's like an F tier for me.
Who did we have last?
Well,
Last time?
I'll stream it in a sec, man. I'm bringing it up. Give me a
Oh,
sec.
come on, bro. Where's
They
the
meant to be
graphics? Where's the
prepared for this.
professionalism?
I'm doing the graphic, bro.
You
Give me a
suck.
sec.
This org's
You for
fucking
weeks
garbage.
that we were gonna do this and you weren't prepared.
This org sucks.
Okay, bro. Alright, there you go. Streaming. This? Can you see it?
1 second.
Oh my god, that's me.
That is
Oh.
you.
I see a familiar face there.
Oh, Truth Gaming, and what's the other one? Something team?
Lit team.
Lit team.
So, which one do you want to do first? Revolt or Goguryeo event?
Put them both D, bro.
Do Gogut first, because Gogut tried at least.
Okay, Goguryeo. Where are we putting them?
Gogut can be C.
I'd say B. I'd be nicer.
No, yeah,
For the
just
first
Gogut.
time, I guess, yeah, midway. Could plenty of things to improve on. Wasn't the worst.
Okay, so we got a B
How
and a
come there's
C.
like double ups?
So it was like different points in time
Okay.
or something. Yeah.
Different management, I think it was. So that
Or like in their prime and like at their worst or
see.
something.
Personally disagree. Gogo should be C.
Okay, so
Why?
I think they should be C because it was a co-managed event and they still managed to screw it up.
True. Can we have a new tier for
And the organization that
Revolt?
co-managed it is also in C tier. So I feel like it's pretty fitting.
Yeah, no, I agree with that actually. I'm changing my vote. It's a C.
okay,
So
C.
I do agree it was their first ever event, and credit to the individuals who had to run that for their first time, but it was co-run by another
No one
org
ran
for a
it.
reason.
Zyrus didn't do anything. It was all TMG.
Oh well, I don't know. I feel like maybe even D if they didn't even run it.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah,
didn't. Actually, yeah, put it in D. Yeah.
Yeah, put him D. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I heard the TMG did everything for them.
Oh,
That's
I
why
was
they didn't do it
a
second.
part of it. Yeah.
Okay, but the event overall. Like I would say the entire event, like not the org, but the
C.
entire event.
Are we talking about the event or the management?
Put them C.
I mean,
'Cause, like, the management was like giga garbage, but the event itself wasn't actually that bad.
They'd be
Yeah,
D
that
if
was
Team
rough.
G didn't carry them to C. Put them C.
Yeah. So
Okay, so we all agree on C then?
Yeah,
Alright.
C's
put 'em
fine.
C.
Alright, Revolt.
we need a fucking new thing for this, man. Like, I refuse to put it in D. Like, that's going in R for Revolt.
Yeah, can I go like fuck I'm dead?
Well, I think it's important to remember why Truth Gaming and Lit Team are in D, and contextualize whether or not what Revolt did was like worse or
Yes.
like on par.
I
Like,
think that Truth
the Truth-
Gaming might have been a little bit before my time. So do you want to fill me in or?
Truth Gaming was Tesla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Karatox and his crew.
Wait, Tesla? I thought Tesla Season 2 wasn't bad, the BSV one.
I think both of them had the same sort of problem. It was like, rather than like 1 round robin or 2 round robins, it was like 1.5.
Yeah.
So you'd verse all the teams once, and then you'd verse half the teams the second time, which can be like, if you're versing the best 3 teams in like the second round robin and you get cucked because of that, like, yeah, that's a bit weird.
And the way the divisions were set up were pretty awkward as well. Wasn't a big fan of that.
Look, I could be paraphrasing, but I feel like last time it was said something like all Tyler's orgs were F tier.
They are. But I think he's migration is low now.
We did mention that because we were considering putting like like Blackout, QTL, all that shit up there because like that was when we were doing this was when those events, were run. And they were advertised on Battlefire and a few other event discords, so I mean like there definitely were a presence that we could have like rated them on, but we were just like, nah, fuck it. It would be F and there's no point putting it there. I feel like Revolt's headed a pretty similar path. I think that at least because I mean even Lit Team's events were kind of like messed up. They let people who were like known scripters play.
Them?
Like in the event. And the admins were like colluding with the team that was doing it.
What?
It was a little weird.
Yeah, it was very corrupt. So I don't know, it's kind of on par with that. Perhaps Lit Team and Revolt should be both below Truth.
Yeah, okay, so we're putting Revolt below Truth then.
Yeah, if you want to put an F tier in there.
Yeah.
Damn. So,
No, E then F. We're not forgetting the alphabet here.
Oh my god, can I just go R?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, there you go. And the reason being mainly because of
Retard.
like
Revolt.
the pirate pat sort of stuff.
A
Well, yeah, pirate
combination-
pat and like the vote being ignored and the team going to finals basically fucking up the like second, third place games, I guess, or something.
Having players involved in teams on administration teams voting on stuff was also pretty questionable. Like
Okay.
players actually playing in the event. Considering like votes regarding those like controversial issues were like, they hid behind it was like, oh, it was a majority vote. It's like, okay. Are the people that are actually playing this event ones voting on this shit? Because it says on the side they're admins. And like we aren't privy to this vote because the only one we were was the captain's vote and they deleted it and didn't care.
Yeah, the fact that we had to go through 2 different voting to get.
And like, sorry to cut you off. Just go.
No, you're right.
I was just gonna say like their reason for like disregarding that vote was because there was too many people voting on it than there were captains, and it was even if you removed the 2 additional votes, it was still majority in favor of like a particular like consensus, right? So you can still like clearly see that like what the teams are wanting. But because it didn't fit his agenda, he disregarded it. Pretty fucking dodgy.
Yep. And the fact that just straight up trying to take money off the players that won the games is just like the most shittiest thing to do for an organization to do.
Yeah, but that bit I'd put more on like the team side of the org and not the tournament side.
Well, they're both the
But
same
yeah,
thing in my opinion. Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, so we're happy with that. Goguryeo C and Revolt R.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
Happy with that.
What else did we have? SumSoc possibly doing Plats, or like they did an Plat.
I don't think they should do Underplat.
Why? I enjoyed it. as someone that actually played in the event. I thought it was like
Was it actually good? Because previously they would just like let anyone play. They didn't give a fuck.
well, I mean that wasn't the case this time because they did DQ
Oh,
one of Vigi's teams, even though Vigi wasn't playing.
SumSoc DQing people.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
also,
mean, it gives everyone another tournament to play in, so I think it's probably good. You can't have another Revolt tournament show up because that just got awful. We need some organization to set an example of how tournaments need to be run.
yeah, well, I don't know, there weren't rules, but it was also their like first time running the event, and they did DQ on the fly, which I don't know was alright. Yeah, I had fun playing the event. What do you guys
I
think?
mean, yeah, I'm always keen for like new orgs to want to start running events. It's just about whether or not they're like competent enough to run them like properly. And I mean, it doesn't really take much common sense to run them properly. Having a brief look at the admins at SumSoc, I reckon they have the potential to be able to do that. So I reckon, yeah, go for it. Do underparts.
Mm-hmm.
People want them. Like, there's enough teams playing in them.
Yeah, you're not wrong now.
I think that was well said.
Is BSV ever going to come back? You reckon?
Yeah, well I don't think we spoke about this on any of the other episodes, but like, they have a new admin team. Well, like, Envy's the owner now.
Yeah.
All hail Envy. Long may he live.
I
The
have no
new
longer staff.
supreme leader.
Sorry, what did you say, Juma?
I am no longer staff there.
Oh,
They have a new staff team, and it's one without me.
good.
So, yeah, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the Discord at the moment, so I don't know who's on their new staff team, but I think Envy can do it well.
I agree. I believe in Envy.
I mean, he shares like we share the similar opinions, like smurfing and rank restrictions, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, you guys could talk about your new roster or what you need in it. I guess.
Wow. Our new roster isn't very consistent, unfortunately. It's like obviously a holiday season, so people are pretty busy with either work, end of semester schooling bullshit, or
The most important thing is we got a new AD carry, and his name is Sparky.
yeah, your roll swaps. How are you finding the roll swap?
Easy. AD carry is the easiest role in the game.
Mm.
No, it's a bit of a change. Don't get me wrong. It's challenging trying to catch up to people that and be on the same level as people that are first in the lane, in bot lane. But just trying to find consistent players to help facilitate me learning it. New role.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You taking stuff you know from like support and applying to it. It's like it's still bot lane, right?
Yeah, it's the bot lane. The same sort of premise, like with lane management and all that sort of stuff. It's just remembering how to CS is the big thing. Something I've learnt as I'm AD carry, I can't secure kills, but when I'm support, I can secure kills.
It's almost like support's a broken role or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah, why don't you play support then? Have you ever thought of playing support?
No, I've never thought about it.
You guys
Maybe I
could
should.
double mage bot lane.
I could.
Nah. They can play AD's mid.
Yeah, AD mids at the moment are very good though compared to what's currently in the meta with the new preseason. From what I've seen.
I think Corky's alright.
But even Corky, you build him hybrid. You build him like with Luden's just shitting out at the moment. It's meant to be the really giga broken on him.
Damn, my things keep moving around. But yeah, you guys are still looking for a fifth, yeah?
Yeah, top lane, I believe we're still looking.
Still trialing.
Yeah, we just haven't found a consistent person that is showing up.
I don't know, is there like a special type of top laner that you're looking for? If someone sees this and they want to message Galaxybear or Sparky, like, I I don't know, you're looking for a tank player, you're looking for a carry player, Diamond Smurf.
You will always take those diamond smurfs. Just make sure your account's well hidden.
Someone
No,
said
just
Diamond Smurf?
mentally imploding.
Yeah, bitchy, you're in.
No, Veggie's not a Smurf.
I mean, mainly just someone that's like comfortable with whatever the current meta seems to be. Like someone that has a flexible champ pool is always going to be preferred. But I mean, if they don't have a flexible champ pool, then just play like tanks, engage. That's all you really need. It's the low elo events anyway. Like if you just play engage shit, it's pretty consistent.
Probably the biggest thing is just good mental, I'd say. I find a lot of people get tilted in tournaments and just don't want to play after you lose 1 or 2 games, or even fall behind in the game. Mental factor is the biggest thing in these sort of tournaments, I think.
Yeah, no, I can agree.
I can also agree.
Anything else? Or is that it?
I mean, I didn't really have a whole lot to add on it. It was just, yeah. Thought it was, a little bit of an interesting idea to run Iron the Plat for SumSoc because they generally weren't very diligent, I suppose, with like Smurf checks and stuff. But if that's changed, then they should be probably pretty good at doing them. And it'll probably raise the bar a bit for events, and especially for the admins, because like that's one thing they do well.
Yeah, hopefully we get some new teams that show up too. With SumSoc team, they have a larger audience. Rather than playing the same set of teams week in, week out.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the teams that play in their open events.
Oh, it might be for a couple of weeks until rules are upheld.
Well, I can say that there didn't seem to be any Smurfs that we encountered in the last one.
No, unless we're counting you.
Yeah. And if you want to see my Smurf gameplay, you can go check it out on YouTube. We got the.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
We got the first half of the highlights up, and the second half should be up shortly. Now, actually, it's up already by the time this comes out.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. Alright, well, thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate it. Especially you, Vigi.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
it was a
coming.
pleasure.
Alright, well, I hope you all have happy and safe holidays. You spend time with family. And
yeah.
Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. Hope you all have a good one, and we'll catch you later.
I hope Santa brings you lots of toys.